Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to FishTalk Live. We've got an exciting night here for you. This is going to be awesome. So this is the time right now. Go ahead and share this out. Share this out in your groups, in your personal page. We've got a guest host tonight, so everything's pretty awesome. Yeah. Welcome to FishTalk Live, everybody. We've got an amazing episode tonight. You guys are going to love this. Right now, if you want to share this out, we get 100 viewers on, you know what we do. So let's see if we can do that. You know, we've been getting about 4,000 views every week. So I'm always confused. I'm like, how are we only not getting 100 live? So let's see if we can do that. I guess people are enjoying the replays. Anyhow, let's go ahead and share this out and get this into our groups and on our pages and send it to your grandma, send it to your best friend, send them to your enemies. I'm doing my shares right now, everybody. Super excited about FishTalk Live tonight. We got guest host Mr. Chris Teem from Aquadariums with us. He's going to be talking about planted tanks. He's going to be talking about paludariums, vivariums, terrariums. It's going to be a great show, everybody. Getting ready to start. We're streaming right now to Twitch. We are on Periscope. We're on YouTube. We're streaming live to the FishTalk Live page on LinkedIn. Yeah. It's going to be a great episode, everyone. So here we go, everyone. You guys ready for this? Yeah. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this lovely June evening. Dave Gould here. Glad y'all can make it. So let me just give from the very top. Let me tell you before I tell you all about the show. This is FishTalk Live with Ron Demers. Ron, as you know, you've heard a few times, is having some issues with his health. And so for the next 2 weeks, we have a guest host, Mr. Chris Teem. He's from Aquadariums. If this is your first time to the show, our show is a live gamified streaming show. We stream, like I said earlier, on YouTube, Twitch, Periscope, LinkedIn, multi-streamed. And then with the viewers' participation, that gets shared out across Facebook. So it's our mission to create a show that talks about some of the hottest topics in the fish keeping business. It's supported by Ron Cichlids, Mr. Ron Demers from West Palm Beach, Florida. He's an awesome guy, breeds killer African cichlids, makes a really great food called Ron Cichlids. Tonight, like I said, we have a guest host, and this just to give you a quick idea of who this guy is, check this out. Mr. Chris Teem. Yes, that's him. That's inside of a huge aquarium. We can ask him about that size a little bit. But that's Chris Teem. Let me tell you a little bit about Chris Teem. Chris, he's a local friend, so he's actually in my house right now, locked up in the back in another room. And he is local here. He's in the past, he was the reptile director, the alligator guy at the Foley, Alabama, Foley, that's a tongue twister. Foley, Alabama Alligator Alley, I think it's called. He's a published author with the American Garden Association. I might have that wrong too. I'll have to ask him. AGA is what it is. So he's they send out a newsletter every month, and he's one of the contributing authors. He goes around to the different fish events and talks about paludariums, does paludarium builds. He's local. He lives really close. He's a good friend of mine. His name's Chris Teem. Let me bring him on. Here he is, Mr. Chris Teem. How's it going, Chris?
Hey, guys. Super excited to be with y'all at FishTalk Live. As Davis said, my name's Chris. I'm the proud owner of Aquadariums. Super excited to be with y'all. I've always watched the show. Unfortunately, I hate to have to be on because Ron's a little under the health. I hope that he gets healthy real quick. But I am super excited to be part of this and get to meet some of y'all who I haven't had the chance to meet in person yet.
Yeah. So we'll give some shout outs to some people that are online right now, Chris. We've got Scott DeFore. He's one of our moderators. He's there. He says, welcome to you, Chris. We got
What's up, Scott?
Yeah. We got Mindy Pulse. We also got Becca Dunn as well. She's one of our moderators. Looking at Pammy Benya. We got Greg Haste, Dennis B. So yeah, we've got a great show tonight. Chris and I have been working on this for a few days. We got, I've spent time, if you guys notice on the opening credits, it no longer says Tuesday Fish Talk Live. It just says Fish Talk Live. I think Wednesdays are working really well for us. So we might just stick with that. One of the ways, okay, so let's just do some of the announcements. Turn your Facebook Live notifications on. Let me show you what that looks like. So if you're on your computer right now, this is kind of what you're seeing, and there's a little bell up there. On your mobile, there's also that. Just click the bell. What that will do is if you like the page and that bell's on, it will give you a notification. It'll be like, hey, it's time for Fish Talk Live. So that's pretty cool. Some of the other, go full screen, that we put a lot of time into the production of the show. And when you go full screen, you can see the power of the graphics and things like that. Please, this is one of the shout outs I wanted to do tonight is let's see if we can get some likes on the Fish Talk Live page. You don't have to do it right now, but maybe when the show's over, drop over to Fish Talk Live, drop a like, maybe drop over to Ron Cichlids, give him a like, and make sure you give Chris's page a like too. And that's facebook.com/Aquadariums. And you'll see his logo in there and all that. So, man, we've been talking about the show for 3 days. It's all this stuff we've been talking about. How you doing, man? It's good to see you.
I'm doing great.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'm super excited. Let me tell you, it's very exciting. It's finally coming to fruition.
Yeah. So, Chris,
I know you didn't want to try to spell out my company name there.
Yeah. Well, I'll show the logo at some point here. They'll see it. Hey, I forgot to do one little thing here. So let me do that. Let me just go in and pick this post so that you can use the chat bot. So how the chat bot works is that if you type in star info, don't do it now because I haven't picked it yet. Here it is. Save. And it is now. I got to confirm that the post is not explicit. Not real explicit. Okay. So now if you type in star info, you can get information about everything we're going to talk about. And we've got some videos from Aquashella, like Ron and I were talking about last week. We're partnering with Aquashella, doing some promotion for them. And it's a really cool show. We're going to show you some of that in a bit. You can also reach Aquadariums and all that. So one of the things that we got going on is a raffle on Aquadariums page, and you'll also see that in the chat bot as well. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Looks like we got 47 people on my end.
All right.
Yeah, so we're hoping to kick that up. We like to get 100 people on there because what we do, Chris, is we'll bypass the spin to win wheel and go straight to giving away some fish. Now, I talked to Ron earlier today, Chris, and he said since we haven't hit any of those fish and we haven't hit the 100, that why don't we just go ahead and add some more spots for the fish? So now there's,
all right.
Yeah. There's 4 spots.
I'll go ahead. If you don't mind, I'll go ahead and up the ante. If we can get to 100 live viewers, I'll go ahead and throw in a $50 gift card to my company.
Oh, nice. So there you go. There's the incentive, everybody. I know that, we like to get over 100 shares, and usually every week we do, but maybe right now you guys just share it out some more. There's an extra incentive. He kicks over 100. He said he'd give away a $50 gift card, and of course, Ron is gonna put his fish in there. And just so you know, on the spin to win later, there is a $100 gift card from Chris too. So we thank you for that, Chris. Awesome.
Anytime. I appreciate y'all having me again. Super excited.
So check this out. There's more. Some of our shout outs are for the groups, and I'm going to shout out a couple groups, but maybe off the top of the head, you can tell us some of your favorites. So the group shout outs, we got the New England Cichlid Association. That's our good friend, Mr. Paul Weiser. We got Frontosa Lovers. That's Scott DeFore. Southeast Fish Addicts is TJ Huffstedler. West Coast Cichlid Exchange with Isaac Garcia. Crown Royalties with good buddy Nathan Pate. Awesome guy. Super guy. I can't say enough about Nathan. We got Girls for Fish with Britt Cox. And then Roger Esparza with Malawi Madness has been, anytime I ask the guy, hey, can I put this on your page? Can I do this? He's like, sure, no problem. And then here's one that I know you're involved with too, Chris, and I know this guy's your friend, and that's Mr. Walter Kelly Crew.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's a United Tanks of America. Big shout out. Why don't you shout some out of your planted tanks out there and see if...
So I am a proud member of a national group called AGA, or Aquatic Gardeners Associations. And for those of y'all, since most of y'all are cichlids, this is a planted group. It's a yearly member fee, but what's cool about this group is they actually send out quarterly magazines, which this past magazine, I just did a talk on paludariums. So you get to see some of my articles that have been published in this, along with keeping up to date with some of this cool stuff going on in the planted community. I have a paludarium Facebook group called Paludariums USA. I'm also helping out with AGA, getting people interested in that one as well. It is AGA Paludarium Study Group. So be sure to like those as well if y'all decide to dive into paludariums after tonight. Yeah,
those are some great groups. One of the things that we've been helping with every week is the New England Cichlid Association. We mentioned Paul Weiser. The reason we keep mentioning this is because the American Cichlid Association is actually, their convention is hosted by New England Cichlid Association this year. So let me give that shout out. Yeah. So that shout out is Cromwell, Connecticut, July 18th through the 22nd. Tons of speakers, Biotope Cichlid Tank Competition, the Saturday night banquet. And I just saw Paul posted something on there about... how to make the best of that. So I'm hoping, Paul, you're going to share that in the clubhouse as well. Yeah. So do you want to talk about you already talked about the...
Yeah. So again, I think Dave's got a way to give y'all the link. If y'all are interested in joining the Aquatic Gardeners Association, it's comprised of local aquatic clubs that have their HAPS program, which is just the horticulture breeding program where you propagate plants. So it's just a national group. I just got done 1st of May being over there as a vendor and Escaping Custom Aquariums Paludarium over there. We just had our biannual conference. So that was really fun. But check it out. It's www.aquatic-gardeners.org. Again, it's a yearly membership fee, but there's so much more benefits than really what I think you get so much more out of it than what it costs with all the articles that like I said, they send out quarterly, they send out monthly emails to keep you up to date as well. Great organization to be a part of for sure.
Yeah, you were telling me it's about $30 a year, so that's reasonable. Anybody can afford that. Hey, check out this video right here. This is kind of crazy. Check this out. So I don't know the name of this fish, but he's super cool. Check him out. A parrotfish, obviously. And I just lost the music somehow. But there it comes back, maybe. But maybe we can give him a name. Go ahead and try to name this fish in the chat. I don't know. He's so cool. What a cool guy.
Reminds me of my green terror I used to have.
Yeah, so in the video when I pulled this down, he said he's got two. He's got two in tanks. One doesn't like to be touched, and this one's like a touchy-feely kind of freak.
Looks like he's just ready to cuddle.
Yeah. All right, so that's pretty cool. So tonight's episode, Chris is going to be talking about aquascaping, vivariums, and paludariums. And so we're blessed to have him here and to be able to talk about that stuff. Call him Charles. Hey, Ron, what's going on? It's good to see you on the chat there, buddy. All right, so that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. Let's bring us back here. So there we are. Dropping some frames tonight. You know, you've heard, remember we talked a little bit about it, Chris. It seems like all of the year-old to 22-year-old kids in Fairhope, Alabama like to, after dinner, start playing Fortnite or whatnot, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess I'm going to have to put a big satellite dish out in front of the house here.
There you go.
All right, so we've pretty much covered all of our announcements and all that, and we can just move right into the discussion tonight. And everybody, you're in for a treat. This man is an amazing aquascaper and has so much knowledge, and I just appreciate you being here, Chris. So the floor is yours, mister.
All right. So, guys, what we're getting ready to dive into today is I'm going to be touching on aquascaping, paludariums, and vivariums. Now, these are very big passions of mine. I've been doing these for over 15 years. I started off when I was 12 and have just kind of progressed working through pet shops and meeting internationally known aquascapers, friends, clubs, everything. So I'm super excited to be talking about this with y'all today. So, So basically what we're going to be touching on is aquascaping. We're going to be talking again on paludariums, the type of aquascapes, and vivariums. So we'll go ahead and start off. You got the pictures for up and ready?
Yeah, you want to do it that way? I'm pulling up one thing here. Yeah, so, you know, I know that everybody's excited about this. You know, most of us are African cichlid keepers. I personally have a planted tank. I know many of us do. So, you know, aquascaping is basically what you're saying is the art behind the layout of that hardscape. So,
yeah, exactly. So aquascaping doesn't necessarily have to involve plants. Aquascaping is really more about the hardscape and how you can make it be presented in an artistic way. So, Dave, if you can knock that picture, it should be a different one.
Let me see if I can get to this beginning here. Apologize, everybody. It doesn't work.
We're going the other way.
Yeah, it's just going to have to go through these.
Okay. So one thing that's important with aquascaping while he's trying to find the picture is rules of thirds. So rules of thirds is just an artistic way. Painters use them. Photographers use them. There we go. That was it.
Yeah. There it is. Okay.
All right, there it is.
Go for it, bro.
So
Sorry about that.
This is a great example of rules of thirds. So if you're ever at home and you're getting ready to aquascape your tank, the easiest way that I do is I just take some painter's tape and I literally measure what's a third of the tank, and you get 9 grids. And what you're wanting is where these lines connect, you want to have something of a focal point right there where those lines connect. And you just, as you can see in this picture, you've got something that's kind of off-centered and you've got some dead space to work with, but it's still something that just looks appeasing to the eyes when you look at it. I know we don't have a lot of time because we got so much to talk about, but rules of third is definitely something that you want to use in your aquariums, your paludariums, and your vivariums.
Yeah.
So
is it like 1/3, 2/3 is what you're?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you just kind of split it up horizontally and vertically, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, you know, and you just use those you get eventually 9 equal sized squares with your tank.
Nice.
And that's what we're trying to do with. And so then when we get into actually using these planted aquariums, we have two different types of aquariums out there. There's a term called low tech planted aquariums, but I like to refer it as, like George Farmer, my buddy over in England, likes to refer to it as a low energy tank. Low tech, to me, it's not necessarily a good term to use, but low energy just means you're not trying to have a high output light. You're not trying to do a CO2 system, but pretty much all you have to do, which Dave, if you go to the next picture.
I'm trying, I was having that problem with my keyboard. So
okay, I'll keep on talking while he's trying to get that. Basically, a low energy tank is just plants that grow very slow. So a good reference of that would be, there we go. Here's a great low energy tank. These are all, you see it's very green. These are all very easy to grow plants. They don't demand a lot of high light. They can be slow growers. They don't necessarily need to be fertilized all the time, but yet they still create a beautiful aquascape. And I think we've got another photo. Well, here's another one again. Nothing super fancy, not a lot of bright colors where they need the CO2 or a bright high-powered light to be able to grow. But yet you get a gorgeous aquascape using these plants. So great plants for this would be like jungle bell, anubias, crypts, even some of the swords will do great along with this. So I think that's even dwarf Sagittarius down there at the bottom in this picture that we're seeing right now. So then
these are your low tech, right?
Yes, this is a low tech plant. And so
low energy.
You'll quickly see, low energy. So you'll quickly see as we go to this next picture here, this is an example of a high energy light. So you can obviously see up above the tank, there's already a brighter light. You can see the CO2 diffuser in here, and this creates beautiful aquascapes. I personally have never done a full aquarium with a CO2 system just because it is so intense. And I just personally like my paludariums, but they create some beautiful artworks here. And this is a great example of one right here. And these bright reds, a lot of these plants that have these bright neon pinks or bright reds demand so much CO2 and fertilizers. And so that's why they're called a high energy or high tech aquarium. Here's another great example of one.
Look at that. That's just awesome the way it's all, that's lush.
So for all those people out there who say you can't get these bright, colorful colors out of a aquarium, I say they're full of it, because you don't have to have a saltwater tank to get all these bright colors. I mean, even look at the background I've got behind me. There's just full of bright, lush colors. So now we kind of touched on this. I was going to go ahead and talk about what we've got next, which are the different types of aquascapes. So a great example is you've got a planted aquarium, kind of like the ones that you see behind me, but there are 3 main types besides just having plants in the aquarium that you could go with. So this next one that Dave's going to show y'all, this is what we call a Dutch style tank. And a Dutch style tank is pretty much just something that's slammed full of plants, and they're all nightly. They've got different heights, foreground plants, all this. And this is just basically just to show off all the different colors and using the plants to aquascape this into an appeasing way. And then Dave, you want to show the other one? This is my actual favorite one. This is just a gorgeous, gorgeous tank again with all those bright neon colorful plants, and there's not a single dead space in there. Now Dutchscapes typically don't have a lot of driftwood or rocks in most of them. They're just strictly all plants and using the different plants to create hedges, mid-ground, foreground, and tall plants in the background.
Yeah, that's incredible. So all those obviously are live plants, and
every single thing in there is live. There's not anything artificial about these.
Yeah, I would imagine as an artist, you're looking at small leaves and the size of the leaves and the colors and
the textures. Exactly.
Yeah,
so
it's beautiful.
This is exactly, and then you can just see how once you can kind of learn your plants and get to know them, even within the paludariums and vivariums, you have all these different plants that I like to use to create these beautiful aquascapes.
Yeah.
So another different type of an aquascape is called a biotope. So this picture right here is a great example of a biotope. And for those of y'all who are not familiar with what a biotope is, it is pretty much just exactly what you would go. So like this picture here, this is a Rio Negro out of the Amazon biotope. So all the plants, all the fish, and are made exactly what you would find there. And then they used as much driftwood as they could to make it look naturalistic as what you would see in the wild. So you see there's some cardinal tetras in there. There's probably, I think there's one had a piece of grama hidden somewhere in the background. Yeah. But this is a great example of, because I lived in Brazil and lived off of the Rio Xingu. This is pretty similar to what you would see in those rivers. It'd probably be a little bit darker water. It's more of a black water, but this is a great example of one. And then since most of y'all are cichlid people here, I figured I would go ahead and show y'all a Western African tank. And this is a Probensis biotope right here. And so granted, it's not your Tanganyikans or stuff like that, but it's still an African cichlid tank using with these dwarf cichlids. And this is another great example. And you can see how they use, again, the rules of third just to make it so appeasing to the eye.
Yeah. So you were telling me that the biotope, the definition of biotope is recreating that environment in which they come from. So that includes substrate, rocks, trees, plants, and livestock, right?
As much as you can, yes. I mean, unfortunately with us, it's kind of hard to go and get a Western African soil or Tanganyikan soil or driftwood, but you can still incorporate some of like the common, more like spiderwood, azalea wood, Malaysian wood to achieve these looks of similar wood that you would find there. But everything living wise has to be from that region, and that's what's key about that. So you'll see every single plant and fish in these aquariums on the biotope has to come from that region. You can't have something from Indonesia and Brazil in the tank together.
Yeah. I didn't know that you were in Brazil. Like, I was there for 6 months in '97. It was one of the best times of my life, and I love Brazilian people. It was just super awesome.
Yeah, I had an awesome opportunity to live in Brazil for 6 months and in Peru for 1.5 years, and I miss it a lot.
Yeah, that's cool.
So then what we've got next as far as aquascapes, it comes to my personal favorite, and we're going to be talking a lot more about this next week in depth. Again, this one we're just kind of dipping our toes, getting them wet, hopefully making you all thirsty to go home and try to build your own paludarium. But this is a paludarium. And what a paludarium is just half land, half water. We're going to get into that here a little bit more. But these are great examples of some paludariums that I found off of the website just to show you. This is a buddy of mine in North Carolina. I actually sold him those archerfish in there. It was super cool because he had tree frogs living terrestrial, and those archerfish would just hit the crickets, and then once they landed in the water, they would eat them. But this was one of the coolest tanks by far I've ever seen in person. And this is just another great example where you see he's got some terrestrial background with the water. So it's really cool because you get the best of both worlds. And it really creates just a naturalistic slice of nature in your own house. And this is why I love paludariums so much.
So tell us a little bit. The tanks are special for paludariums, correct? They're watertight on the bottom. Yeah.
Well, we'll see here in a little bit. Actually, Dave's got a video that he's going to be showing later on, but this was a 110 gallon paludarium that I built. It was just your standard 110 gallon tank. Now this one here is unique because it's open front, because one of the downsides with a paludarium is you need the height to be able to achieve the terrestrial and aquatic part. Gotcha. But unfortunately, a lot of our tanks that we use are 30 inches tall. It makes it very difficult to try to scape and plant the bottom. Yeah. So what I have now upgraded to using companies like Custom Aquariums is have them build me something with sliding front doors, so where literally the aquarium I can reach in just 3 or 4 inches above the water level, but still have glass to keep animals and stuff like that inside of them. Mm-hmm. So, but this is a great example of that. So we're gonna go ahead and talk more about paludariums now. So we're kind of transitioning. We got done talking with the water, so now we're moving to the half land, half water of today's talk. And paludariums are the best way to get that. Now, you do have some talks of ripariums, but the true definition of what a paludarium is it has to have somewhere between, I like to say, 25% and 50% water. You don't want more than that because then you get into the ripariums. But the main thing with the paludariums is for it to be considered a paludarium and not a vivarium with just a pond, is it has to be able to sustain life aquatically. So you need to have some type of filter. You need to have some type of way to be able to keep your plants and fish alive. And this one right here is just that. So if you have a tall tank at home, say like a 110 gallon tank, the easiest thing to do is find out if your glass is tempered or not, and then you can just drill and make your own bulkheads down lower in the aquarium instead of having to have the overflow come up over into there. So that's how I customize my own, is I just drill into the back glass, and then I just use the background to kind of hide the inlet and outlet for the filters. So
and you can have a sump on there at that point as well.
Absolutely, yes. I recommend canister or sumps. The problem is when you've got a paludarium like this, and say you had an internal filter day, is when you get time ready to clean it, unfortunately, if your tank has grown up over, you have to rip down half your tank just to get access to your filter. Or if you had an internal pump, and I have made that mistake, let me go ahead and try to save as many of y'all as I can. Just don't do it. It's a heartbreaker 6 months when you have to tear it down because your pump got clogged up and leaked.
So we talked about building out that a paludarium together with the EXO that I have, and you were talking about drilling at the bottom and using a fluval 305 or 306 that I have, so we could create a waterfall and have the intake on the bottom, and then on the top have the water kind of trickle out over the background and back into the
Yep, you definitely can do that. So again, key things with the paludarium is just going to be making sure that you got the right water. And then Dave, let's go ahead and get to the next point on paludariums, which is creating a false bottom. So right here, what I like to do for false bottoms, because for your terrestrial plants to be able not to be boggy, soggy, and rot, they need to be able to have the substrate drain, and you want about 3 or 4 inches from the bottom of your substrate to where the top of the water meets. That way your substrate just doesn't stay flooded and saturated, because all your terrestrial plants would rot. So a great way to do this, there's tons of different ways, but this is just one picture I'm using for today. I just used egg crate. It's very simple. We use it a lot with our African cichlid tanks to put it down the bottom underneath the sand, to where if a rock falls down, it doesn't shout at the bottom of your glass. This is how I use it, just to cut out for pieces of driftwood, stuff like that. But it allows my substrate, my terrestrial substrate, to be able to drain properly into the water without the terrestrial substrate staying saturated and flooded all the time. So we'll talk more about this again next week. This is just again, get your toes wet, hopefully get y'all more excited for next week's talk. That will be just strictly on paludariums.
Yeah.
And then
so everyone, this is a 2-part series. We might not have said that. So Chris is going to be back next week, and we're going to specifically focus in on the paludarium, building that half terrestrial and half aquatic.
And so next thing with paludariums, like you've seen in all these, is a custom background. So again, here, this is actually a customized tank I had built by a guy, to where it could hold water down below. It's got those up front doors, but you can kind of see back here, this is before it's all grown in. This is a custom background. So everything you see back there, I made myself using clay, natural cork bark, some pieces of driftwood. And then Dave, I think on the next picture, you'll be able to see, yep, there we go. That's actually me, where I used that spray foam, the great stuff, and was coating it over in grout and then painting it to make it look more naturalistic, to blend it in with the tank. So again, we'll talk more about this again next week, but there's so many different ways that you can create your own background to make your paludarium look so natural and really cool.
Yeah.
And just like your standard 90-gallon, 75-gallon tank.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I would imagine, like, next week when you're talking about the background, that can also be applied to other people that are just doing want a really cool background for their.
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with what y'all are doing here to be able to submerge this in. You just silicone it in place, and you got a really cool 3D background for your cichlid tanks if you want to just use rocks, or maybe you want to do a plant tank with a cool background. It's definitely something cool to try out.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to go ahead and transition to vivariums. So we've kind of gone from fully aquatic to half land, half water, and now we're going to vivariums. This right here is one of my vivariums and one of my clients at a veterinary clinic. But you can kind of see how I made that custom background through this siding. It was one of my favorite shots right here.
So the vivarium is fully terrestrial.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, you can have some people have a few small ponds, but it's not like you're going to be able to keep tetras or any fish alive in those ponds. But this is a great one. Let's go ahead and take it to the next one. My favorite part is you just saw through the Dutchscape, stuff like that, and some of those high energy tanks that you can get so much color. but there are so many colors, so much characteristics of texture of the leaves, everything else in the vivariums that you can get that really just create a nice centerpiece, or really just add a nice little surprise when you're looking at a tank at a different angle. This is one of my favorite plants that I brought back from Ecuador. This is Milana Ecuador, species Ecuador. That's about all we have. Beautiful plant. It gets real green, and then underneath nice light, it gets that deep dark purple with a bright neon pink underneath. So plants, terrestrial plants, you got ferns, you've got vines, you've got begonias you can use. You can see all this crazy moss in this picture too. Your possibilities are just endless to create such a beautiful and natural aquascape.
Yeah.
In your paludariums or even vivariums.
So I'm sorry I interrupted, but I kept thinking of something. This is what you do. This is what Aquadariums is all about. So Chris, he not only builds paludariums and has clients for that, but he's also a distributor, or he sells these aquatic plants and also aquatic animals and reptiles and all that. So
yep, I do aquatic plants, driftwood, rocks, all the way from water up to terrestrial. So you name it, we cover it. So it's just a big passion of mine. Like I said, I used to be a general manager for some pet stores. My mentor who got me into fish husbandry was Dr. Robert Goldstein. He's an old time name if y'all are familiar with some of those with his name. Great guy. But going on with the vivariums, let's go ahead. This is here's one of mine where I use the rule of thirds, and this is the overall tank shot of an Exoterra. This last here was a 36 by 18 by 36 Exoterra. It was strictly terrestrial. It houses poison dart frogs and geckos inside of this one. But you can see this just full of lush green. This picture here, it was about 14 months old. So this is my favorite part about paludariums, is because the older the tank is, the better it looks. So one thing I kind of hate when I see people do aquascapes, especially with some of the high energy aquariums, is that they have to tear it down every year and a half or so because they're trying to do competitions or because of the substrate they use. But mine, it just looks better and better every year when you go on from here. So this one was, again, about there, but you can see all the different textures and patterns in the leaves, just to really give you that at-home feel, like if you're right there in the Amazon.
Mm-hmm. So I'll just wait here.
So yeah,
I know where you're going with this. So
no, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Let's go ahead and show off some of the animals.
You're creating a perfect habitat for the animals.
Correct.
Which frogs, lizards, snakes, I guess.
This one here is a high humidity. It has an automated misting system in it. The humidity here stays around 70 to 90% because I want to be able to house. Oh, where'd it go?
It's there.
Just went to it.
Sorry, it's still there. Oh, you want the frog? Right. There we go.
Yeah, the frog.
Yeah.
This is one of my poison dart frogs that I bred. This is called the Highland Syrensis. It's personally one of my favorites. I love poison dart frogs. In fact, when I was living in Peru, a poison dart frog saved my life, but that's a long story to go into that. But I absolutely fall in love with them because, hands down, look at that crisp school bus yellow with that sky blue legs on this frog right here. Believe it or not, this frog, though, is only the size of my thumbnail. But you've got some frogs that are just so cool. If you're into the plants and everything else, I've got plants, terrestrial plants in my tanks that are like used in medicine. Like one plant, if you chew on the leaf, it'll help you calm down an upset stomach. And then I've got frogs like the Phyllobates terilibius, which is the most toxic animal on the planet. One drop of their toxin could kill 100 humans. But morphine was originated from poison dart frogs. It's just so cool, the medicinal stuff that we have from all these frogs and plants down there in the Amazon for sure. But again, this is a Highland Syrensis and one of mine. And then next picture, if we go to this was a different vivarium I set up. But this one has this is just pretty much your peacock day gecko. It's not in such a high humidity. The humidity in this tank stays around 60%, 50 to 60%. But again, you see that bright, crisp colors, kind of reminds you of the gecko right there for sure. Yeah. But this is a little bit of a dwarf species. It only maxes out around 5.5 inches. But over my years of, like he said earlier, I was a reptile keeper. I've had vivariums, planted vivariums, everything else that house animals as large as 6 feet in them. So it's definitely a huge passion of mine for sure.
So let me ask you: can you have that gecko in a paludarium with fish in the water?
Absolutely, yes,
Yeah?
absolutely.
Okay,
Again,
cool.
you just want to think about your terrestrial plants, what their humidity requirements are, and what your animals' humidity requirements are. And depending on what plants you want to use, try to find the best suitable inhabitant to go in there with that as well. So yeah. My personal one I have at home, it's got poison dart frogs with some Gonatoidi geckos, which is basically the South American day gecko. So it's really cool. They help out. Spiders can be a big problem for dart frogs, but my geckos eat all the spiders up in the cage for me. So it works out really well.
Nice. Awesome. It's such an awesome talk. I mean, we went through it real fast. We're not, like I was telling Chris, this is not, we're not trying to get people to get a master's degree. We're just dipping your feet. Again, this is things we can talk about. I've been watching, I know that we've got a lot of African cichlid people that like to watch the show, but I just thought, wow, it's so cool to try to get people to see this planted side. So I'm stoked about it. I think you did an awesome job on that.
Appreciate it, guys. So yeah, again, with the aquascaping, don't forget rules of third. This is how you can use this in everything. Even the cichlid people out there with your rockscapes, you can create a beautiful rockscape with the just using this rule of third. So next time you get ready to build one, think about that. Again, paludariums is another type of the aquascapes, and then it ties right back into the vivariums, which we just saw, which is strictly just all terrestrial with no aquatic life at all. But if y'all want to know more about paludariums, I'm going to be going a lot more in depth instead of me trying to cover 3 subjects. I'm talking just on paludariums. It's definitely a passion of mine. It's a quickly growing thing in the hobby. It seems like every year there's more and more interest about it. Even now, ZooMed and Exoterra coming out with their own paludarium tanks. So super excited. Hope to see all of y'all next week as well for that talk.
Yeah. So, hey, let me ask you this. So I have a question before we take a break and go to the questions and ask for some callers to call in. Let me ask you this. Can we do a paludarium that is Rift Lake, African Rift Lake inspired?
I'm sure you could.
Some plants that you know about that would look great coming out with some, maybe some dwarf and Buna or something in there. The crib.
Yeah,
obviously.
I mean, so it's crazy. A lot of people will use Java fern and Anubias with their African cichlids because it can tolerate the harder water and the higher pH. But I actually like to use a lot of those plants myself terrestrially. Again, it just depends on your humidity care. So yeah, I'm sure you could try to do a Rift Lake. I have never tried that yet. But maybe if I saw what some of the terrestrial side looked like around the like Lake Tanganyika, it'd be cool to try out or over with the Mbunas. So
yeah. Once again, I'm slightly bummed at the amount of drop frames. I do apologize to everyone. Like I said, sometimes this turns out to be a podcast. I put lots of hours. I had 10 hours into this show today. So
make sure you kids stay up a fortnight.
I got a bunch of cool videos. What happens if the videos don't play through on the show? I just usually post them on the page for people to see. That was super awesome. We're going to take a break, everybody, and we're going to come back. We're going to give away some stuff. We're going to take some phone call questions from y'all. We're also going to take some live chat questions. So don't run away. I wanted to show you something really cool, though. I'm not sure if that video is going to play. I don't know if you can see this on the bottom, Chris, but that drop frames, and you see that red. It's yellow right now. It's yellow.
I see yellow. Yeah, I see it flashing yellow.
So that's cycling, and it's every time it's in the yellow, it drops a couple frames. When it hits red, it drops a lot of frames. And
which video was that?
The paludarium video.
Oh, okay.
So why don't we let's save that for next week? That paludarium.
Yeah, we'll save that for next week, or we can definitely share it later on to the page. So for sure.
I want to encourage everybody to call in tonight and talk with Chris and ask him any question you have about aquascaping, planted tanks, paludariums, vivariums. Go ahead and call in. Here's the number. You can also type in star info in there right now. One of the ways we can support Chris and help him out and what he's doing and thank him for being here on the show is he's got actually a raffle. He's giving away, or not giving away, but he's raffling off a Fluval FX6 on his page. There's how you spell aquadariums. It's
but yeah, if y'all want to know more about Aquadariums.
Yeah.
We're going to be giving away. We're selling the tickets at $10 a pop. This is a great way for you to win a filter that almost costs you $400 brand new.
Yeah.
I think as of up until the show today, Dave, I think we only got about 20 tickets left, give or take one or two.
Yeah, so there's 20
tickets selling out.
Yeah, 20 tickets. Here, I made it super easy for everybody. Type in star info, and you will see when you go through the information service, you'll see it says Aquadariums raffle. You just click that. Buy as many tickets as you want. Like I said, there's 20 or so left. This is a way we can support Chris as well for coming on and sharing his knowledge. Plus, like he said, $10, you might win yourself a filter. All right, so I have all these really cool things, and they're all video, and it's just gonna lag, but whatever. We're gonna take a break. We're gonna hear from our sponsors. We're gonna talk a little bit about some different stuff. Oh, you guys heard it last week about this, and let's let the video play a little bit, Chris, and then we can talk about it.
Welcome everybody to Aquashella Day 1. This is without a doubt an experience. I've never been to a show like this. I walk around and into these different rooms and look at this artwork, taking pictures and videos of things that I've never seen in 30 years of being in the industry. To see a show of this magnitude, bring the two together. Freshwater is often the segue to saltwater. There are more corals here than other shows that we've been to. Everybody brought this revolution of artwork. It brings the show to a brand new show.
So Aquashella is in Chicago this year. You can see there the date, September 28th and 29th. Chris Teem has a table there with Aquadariums, and it's looking like Ron and I are going to be there hanging out. We're not doing the booth thing this year, but we are going to be doing some FishTalk live shows from there, and it's I don't want to say it, but I got to say it. It's almost like think EDM art shows in New York, Manhattan, with fish keeping hobby, and that's what it's all about. They've got glow rooms and all sorts of really cool stuff. So we just wanted to go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say Aquashella is a great show. It's a biannual show, meaning if they have two shows every year, one's in Chicago, one's in Dallas. They do the one in Dallas in the spring. I'm going to be up there in Chicago, up there in the Amazonia department. But not only will it be just fish, they're going to have reef. They're going to have reptiles. It's just going to be pretty much a blending of everything. So I'm going to be back there in the Amazonia department, nice. Back there where it's a little bit of mixture of the fish and the reptiles. So nice. Y'all be sure to swing by and at least just say hey in person.
Yeah. Hey, so moving on to our next little slide here. I know we said we were going to take a break, but I want to talk these things through. I want to give a super big shout out to one of our moderators, Mr. James Smith. Ron and I have talked about this several times. We are super stoked for the amount of work and help you do with the show and with the platform and everything. So he is the owner of ADA Tank Supply. He's a co-owner. His partner, Jeffrey. They're out of Springfield, Missouri, and they have some of the best Suryu and Oko rocks. And you need to check them out. Go on. You can find them on eBay. You can also go to adaTankSupply.com. Super great guy. Appreciate all his help.
I actually use it for a lot of different rocks and aquascapes at home. Great if you're looking to do the clean tank for sure.
Yeah. Check this out, everyone. I don't know how it's going to play out. Let's hope it does. All right. That is Ron's wife and his daughter. And so I came up with this little commercial, Girl Fish Keepers Rule. We usually have a ton of girls on. And yeah, so I'll talk a little bit more about that. Let me just run through these others here.
Hey, what's up? I'm Callan Douglas. I'm from Rochester, Illinois. Try Ron Cichlids, you guys. His fish are awesome. They're big, beautiful, vibrant. I got a couple of them in here. Also, his food. His food is unreal. They devour it. They splash me for it. That's the only bad thing I can say about the food is I get wet every time I feed them almost. But 5 stars all around. Get a hold of Ron, roncichlids.com.
All right, everybody. As you know, I produce these shows, and a friend of mine, Mr. Dave Albin, who has spent 25 years with the personal development guru, Mr. Anthony Robbins, as a fire instructor. Him and I have gone into business together with some CBD. So we have a new show coming on July 7th called CBD Live. So if that's something that you're interested in, check it out. It's CBD Live TV is the Facebook page. Check us out. You're gonna want to see this show. It's kind of has this surf culture and Hawaiian culture, all about wellness, all about bettering your life and just doing some great stuff. So anyway, that's CBD Live. We appreciate everybody. So we're going to take some questions, and we're going to ask Chris some questions here, and we'll see how it is and what's going on. We've also got some callers, so let me go ahead and flop over to the chat and see what kind of questions we've got here tonight.
All right, let's do it.
I don't see any questions, not a single one. Let's see. I don't know, maybe
I covered it that thoroughly, huh?
Yeah, maybe our chat guy took off. Anyway, that's okay. You've got time now. Put your questions in the chat, and we'll find those. I'm going to go ahead. We've got 2 callers on right now. Let me go ahead and bring them on the show.
Let's do it.
And I'm unmuting you now. Hey, caller. Welcome to Fish Talk Live.
Hey, good evening.
Hey, what's going on?
Hi, my name's Charles.
Hey, Charles. What's going on?
Charles,
Welcome.
what's going on?
Yeah.
I got some questions about this paludarium.
Paludarium, yes, sir.
Can I grow lettuce in there?
I suppose you could. Yeah, I mean, you could. It's pretty much almost like a hydroponics. I mean, you can grow whatever you'd like to in there. Yes, sir. Essentially, we're creating that false bottom as long as your terrestrial substrate is staying dry enough. I don't see why you couldn't grow lettuce terrestrially.
What kind of lettuce are you looking to grow, bro?
The kind you dry up and smoke.
Hey, this kind of sounds like somebody I know. Who is this?
What's up?
What's
it's me,
up?
Ron. I'm punking you guys. I never get to call in on my own show. What's up?
What's up?
What's going on?
How you feeling tonight, Ron?
I feel sore, but I'm laying here in bed and watching the show and learning some stuff from my boy Chris, and I get to hear the music for a change, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I don't hear that on my end, so it's a little weird.
Yeah.
It's the first time I get to hear the music. It's pretty good music.
Yeah, I wish we did. I wish we had one of those shows where we did not drop any frames, so you could experience that. But
yeah,
so whatever.
Well, Ron, I greatly appreciate you. Let me fill in for you on your show. I wish you the best of speed recovery with your health. Happy to fill in until you get back up on your feet.
Thanks, brother. It's a great topic. It's something that not a lot of people talk about. So, like you guys said, dipping their toes in it and getting more awareness to it is amazing. Like I said, I'm tuned into this show, and I'm definitely tuning in the next week too. And I appreciate you taking your time and hanging out with Dave. I know that's got to be rough hanging out over there with him.
You have no clue, especially when he's just a stone throw away.
Yeah. We're trying to figure out. I think next week, I think we're gonna grab another camera and have him in the same room. Right now, he's in the other room on the other side of the house, But whatever.
He said I had too much energy. He kind of stuffed me in the closet.
Hey, do you want to spin the wheel, Ron?
Can I spin the wheel? I can send myself a prize.
Yeah. Well, you can just have Hunter,
My
bring
luck,
it over
you'll
to
have
you.
it rigged, and there'll be a booby prize in there, like a bag of air,
Yeah.
Florida air.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, thanks for calling in,
I do
Ron.
that sometimes when I ship fish. If the box holds 7, but you bought 6, there'll be a bag of air in there. So the bag of air is just there as a cushion, but I'll write something funny on the bag, like, don't inhale this air.
You know what you should do is get a little teeny stuffed animal of a fish, and then so fill the bag with air and put the little teeny stuffed animal in there, in that one, the booby prize, the I love you from Ron prize. Yeah,
Ron's special air. I love you.
Hey, you guys ever seen one of these? Takes a while.
I heard that someone had one in Iowa.
Yeah, somebody in an RV was driving down the road with one. I'm flashing the tank sticker up there. Hey, we appreciate you, Ron, calling in, but we've got things we got to do, so I'm going to say goodbye to you. I love you, man.
All right, before I go, I just want to let everybody know, please call in. I'm going to give away some tank stickers tonight. And glad to be on with you guys. It's pretty cool. Thanks, Chris, and thanks, Dave. Love you guys.
Yeah, love you too, bro. So, yeah, I was talking with Ron earlier today, and we talked about it. I said, let's get, there was a post on Ron's, the clubhouse, and someone was asking about the tank sticker. I said, well, let's give everyone that calls in a tank sticker. So there we go. Let's,
we'll mail one to Ron.
Yeah, I'm going to mail this one back to you. It's actually a winner. You remember on that? I won. And
yeah.
I won't call it, but. Hey, stay on. You can stay on, Ron. You don't have to go nowhere. Let's bring another caller in here. Maybe we'll go get a 4-way call here. Hey, caller, welcome to Fish Talk Live. You're live with Mr. Ron Demers and Chris Teem and myself. Who is this, and where are you calling from?
This is Robert Cox from Waycross, Georgia. What's going on, Mr. Dave?
What's going on, Robert?
What's going on, buddy?
What's going on, Chris? What's going on, Ron? But no, my question for Chris is, I got a pink-toed tarantula, and I've been kind of wanting to do something, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do until I started watching this episode. And It got me thinking, but I mean, at the same time, I'm kind of stupefied on it because, of course, it's a tarantula and web gets everywhere and stuff like that. So, I mean, really, I'm kind of lost for words on where to even begin on that.
So with a tarantula, I definitely would look more into like a terrarium vivarium setup than a paludarium for sure. Depending on your species of tarantula, I'm having a hard time hearing them.
I got it. It was Ron. Ron needs to turn this down, but I muted him. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's looking for a solution for his tarantula, and I was hearing you, Chris, before you got there. You were talking about a vivarium or a terrarium would be best.
Yeah, depending on what species, you need to look at the humidity care. To be honest, I've always never seen live plants in a tarantula species tank, but I've seen tarantulas living when I lived in Peru and Brazil out there in the wild. So it's definitely, in my opinion, something that is doable. Now it's just a matter of you picking out the enclosure. If you go to my Facebook page, you want to message me, I'll be happy to help you out with the research on it, and we'll see what we can come up to create a naturalistic enclosure for you for sure.
Awesome.
Well, I mean, the only things I know about it so far is it's arboreal. So, I mean, it lives up off the ground.
Yeah.
And I mean, I already have it in the enclosure, but if I do what I'm wanting to do, of course, I'm going to have to kind of get a bigger enclosure so that way it have more room to roam and the plants and everything like that.
So a great way and it's a cheap plant for you to maybe start off with this tarantula, is pothos. I mean, you can go to Home Depot, Lowe's, you can buy a hanging basket for like $14, and it's a very common house plant. It's very forgiving. And mainly all you got to do is just make sure that you keep that substrate wet for those roots to be able for the plant to absorb the water for it to survive. But I would start maybe off with pothos, and then if that works well, try to dive into another plant. But literally, you can take a pothos vine cutting that's only like maybe 6 inches, and that will probably easily fit in the enclosure that tarantula is in now. And if you see that that's doing well, definitely as you get ready to progress and get a larger enclosure, we can definitely hook you up with some really cooler plants for it.
Hey, Robert, we appreciate you calling in, bro. And it sounds like Chris said he would work with you any further questions. So you can reach him through facebook.com on Aquadariums. One of the cool things is we have Ron on here, and Ron is giving away these they're really cool tank stickers. So I'm going to hold it up again. I'm not going to move it because of the drop frames. It's upside down. They're really puffy. You see that? And they're really cool. They look great on your filters, on your tanks. And Ron's going to give you one. Everybody tonight who's listening, if you do win something, you can just go through, you message Fish Talk Live, and in the menu there, you'll see claim winner. So anyway, we appreciate you calling in, Robert.
All right. Thank you,
Thank
Dave.
you, Robert.
Thank you, guys.
Now, if I got to remember which one's Ron's number here, so I don't kick him out by mistake.
561 in the house.
All right, so Ron's giving away tank stickers to anyone that calls. So call in if you got any questions here for Mr. Chris Teem. I do have a question sent in from our chat moderators, and that was, and I can't see it on my thing here, so let me, and of course it says update. Cheryl Coley, she's interested in understanding the layers at the bottom of vivarium. So if you can quickly talk about that and what kind of substrate you use, if you can just give her a quick answer on that. Yeah.
So with my vivariums again, there's a couple different ways that you can do it. What was her name again, Ron?
It's Cheryl.
Sure.
Okay. So Cheryl, a quick, easy ways that you can do false bottoms. There's this product called hydro clay balls. You can find it at your local hydroponics. You can put that down with just your simple fiberglass window screen over it, and then add your terrestrial substrate. That will give that layer for your terrestrial substrate to drain where it doesn't stay saturated. I personally like to use egg crate. It comes in a 4-foot by 2-foot sheet. You can get that at Lowe's or Home Depot. And then I just use PVC couplings, depending on how tall I want it to get to. I'll use however size PVC pipe couplings. And you set that on top of it. You lay down that fiberglass window screen on top of that egg crate, and then you just build your substrate out. I like to do in my vivarium stuff like this. I like to do about a 3 to 4 inch substrate. That way your roots have got plenty of space to grow and get settled into the substrate. But as far as substrate goes, cocoa fiber is a really good one. It holds moisture. I don't really recommend strictly using that. There's a product that you can Google called ABG Mix, which is Atlanta Botanical Garden Mix. It's got some charcoal, some sand, some peat. It's got some tree fern fiber in there. But overall, that is a great one. And hopefully here soon, I'll be able to start selling that on my website as well. But you can make it yourself if you get the materials. Again, just Google ABG Mix.
Awesome. So thanks a lot, Cheryl, for that question. Glad to see you here on the show again and your activity in the groups and all that. Remember, a lot of these things that we do here on Fish Talk Live is really about trying to, oops, of course, it's got to do that, start conversation. So even though that it's Ron's Cichlid Clubhouse, we can talk about plants in that group, and we can talk about other things like that too. So if you want to start these conversations, I do know that there's at least a few hundred people in the clubhouse that are also planted people, so, quote unquote planted people that have planted tanks and all that. Hey, what are you doing, Ron? Are you just laid up in bed with your feet up on top of pillows getting massages or what?
No, I'm laid up in bed with a laptop and earbuds and a phone, but my neck is in rough shape, so I'm constantly finding new positions to be in before I have to mix it up. I just can't sit in a chair for some reason.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm chilling like a villain.
Nice.
There you go.
So I'm not sure if he can't hear the dang music, but this is what this music sounds like. So it's funny, I've been watching the numbers, they going up and going down. I think some people coming on, they're like, they're like
what happened to Ron?
Lettuce.
Yeah.
They're like lettuce. What the I almost swore, but I didn't. You gotta
grow that beard out more, Chris, before people kind of get us somewhat confused.
Yeah,
I tell you, I just need to sprinkle some of my plant fertilizer on it. Maybe that will help it out some.
Yeah. I'm sure there's at least 3 people who are like, is that Ron's son?
Yeah.
Hey, since we got you on, let's I'm gonna throw this video up. I hope you guys get at least a few frames of it. It's pretty cool. Check this out. This is our Clubhouse video of the week, and we have chosen Mr. Ron Demers. So
Wow.
we've got your albino morays up there, a beautiful 125-gallon tank with some of that beautiful rock that you got from ADA, black substrate, and those fish are amazing, Ron. They're super, super amazing. They're just like mesmerizing. But
I love them.
I'm sure that our guest host on the show right now would probably say, you know what you need is a couple of big Anubias plants or whatnot. Can you see his tank from where you're at, Chris?
Absolutely. Yeah, it looks great. I like the way he did the scaping. We could definitely get some more rocks from ADA and make a really cool rock scaping in there for you.
Nope, not going to happen.
No. But what
That's
if
that's a breeder colony. So we've got to get in there on a weekly basis with a net to catch females, and it's hard enough with those 3 rocks. I can't imagine any more than that.
Yeah. What if Chris sent you a big one piece of Anubias to give you some green in there? That's what I keep seeing. Would you put it in there?
We could probably put it in there somewhere.
All right, I'll mail one to you. I got a piece actually in Dave's living room right now, so we'll mail it to you.
Appreciate it.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, these are my babies. These are albino dolphins, and there's 23 of them, 5 males and 18 females, and they breed almost daily. I'm raising easily 900 plus offspring from them, and they're the backdrop for FishTalk Live when we do the shows, and right next to where I work on my computer every day. So these are my babies. I love these guys.
Yeah.
They're gorgeous.
Well, we thought we'd
Thank
treat you. I mean, you're never on the video of the week and all that, so I just wanted to do that and show those out. It's not a sales pitch. You don't have any of these ready to go, right? They're not ready to sell right now. Right?
Not really. I mean, I've got quite a few up to 3 inches, but I'm holding on to a lot of them to start a second breeding group. So
Nice.
in the near future, I will definitely be having a lot of them for sale.
All right, so you don't ever hear the music, but this is what it sounds like, Ron, when we play this music, and it's a certain time to spin the wheel. So we are going to pick some people for spinning the wheel and give away some stuff.
Let's do it.
All right, so let's see. I'm just sorry, my brain just like totally stopped there. Okay, so our hashtag for tonight, and you guys all have some really good odds, but a lot of people jump back on. They're like, "Oh, it's in. Let's get the hashtag for tonight is guest host. Hashtag guest host. So put that in there right now. So hashtag guest host right now, and you'll be spinning the wheel. We're going to pull out a couple of winners tonight. Like I said earlier, this wheel is got 4 fish on it, 4 grand prizes. And thank you, Ron, for that. That's something that you had mentioned. He said, why don't we just put a notch? So we did that. So while this music is playing, you have the opportunity to put in guest host right now. All one word. Charlie Velinowski's got it. Looks like Matthew Cassetti has got it. Kaylee Nyberg. Oh, hey, we have a new mod, everybody, and that's Kaylee Nyberg. So it's good to see you on the show. Of course, all of Ron Cichled's moderators are allowed to join just like everyone else, and try to get some some free prizes and all that. So right now, that is hashtag guest host. All one word, guest host. Hashtag guest host. So check this out. You may want to like this broadcast. And I've got something new coming too, Ron. Is we're going to make it so that you can pick winners from people that share. Now, there you go.
Nice.
Huh?
Nice.
Yep. All right, so you got a little bit more time here. Put in guest host. We're going to pick a couple of people to spin the wheel tonight. Hopefully we'll give away some fish, maybe a collection of plants. Chris, you got that $100 gift card on there as well.
Yep.
All right, so we are ready to go ahead and pick these out. So let me come up here. As you can see. All right, look, the part in my hair changed. How'd that happen? Whoa. All right, let's don't worry about what I'm talking about. All right, so we got guest host. I think I'm going to go back to one of your posts too. I'm going to pull the other winner from a post. So we're waiting for this to load. You know how I like to keep people guessing, right? How's he going to pick the winner? All right, so here comes our post. There it is, episode number 33. 53 reactions and 334 comments. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull that first one off of, no, not West Coast, although, yes, I am from California.
They're just getting off of work, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Well, you know, we talked about it, or I mentioned it at the beginning of the show, is that we don't get a lot on the live aspect of it, but over the week there's about average 4,000 people watch the show. All right, so we are going to pick by first thing I'm going to do is clear it out. This first person that pops up here is not a winner on that. It was Ron Demers. Did you see that? I don't know if you guys saw that, but it was Ron Demers that popped up. Dang, Ron. All right, so here we go.
Suck.
Yeah. All right, so here's our hashtag right here, guest host. You see it? Good luck to everybody. Our first person spinning the wheel tonight is Craig Cox. So what you need to do, Craig, is you need to let us know that you're live. So in the chat right now, you got to say, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. Second person coming off of that is going to be guest host. And we're going to pick Jeff Pittman. So both of those are eligible. The way the rules work on this is that you can't win more than once per month. Every 4 weeks, it will recycle out. So you guys are both eligible to spin. I just need to know that you're here. So, and somebody tell me that you're here. Jeff Pittman, and I would imagine they would. Why would you put in the hashtag and then bail, right? Huh?
Poop break.
Yeah. Yeah, there's Jeff Pittman. I see him there.
All right.
And then
there's Craig.
And there's Craig. Since we pulled you first, Craig, let's go ahead and do yours first. Hey, you know what I wanted to say? But before we do this, let me bring this back. Hold on. You know, let's see. Okay, here I am. Okay, hold on. All right, so you guys saw the little commercial I did with Diane and Katie Demers. That's Ron's wife and his daughter. If the ladies are on right now and you want a T-shirt, there is a $4.50 discount on the shop right now. So they're normally $24.50 if you buy them, but it's only right now. It's only till midnight tonight. It's people that are watching this. And they're for the female shirts only. So they're $20. So I just wanted to say that. Okay, let's get back to the wheel, and I'll have Chris pick one of the color things, and I'll have Ron do it. So let's go to the wheel. If I can find the wheel, should say spin the wheel. There we go. All right, and here's the wheel. Like I said, we modified the wheel tonight. It's got 4 spots on there for fish, and it's got the $100 Aquadarium on there as well. So let's give Chris the honors first. So what we do, Chris, is I ask you to pick one of these colors, and then I ask you to tell me which color it is. So you see here, this indigo color is at 2 o'clock, and it's also like at 6:30. You just say indigo 2 o'clock, and then I ask you, where do you want me to put it to starting position? So so go ahead. What color?
Do the yellow. Let's do the yellow at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, and then what starting position? Give me another number on the clock.
Let's do the starting position of the bluish purple at the 1 o'clock. or 2 o'clock. That
Just
might be.
say just 1 o'clock. It will work. So right here's the starting position. And again, if you guys look closely on there, you have several grand prize for winning a fish, and you also have the $100 Aquadarium plant package or whatnot. So this is for you, Craig. Good luck, Craig. Good luck.
Good luck, Craig. Let's
Look
see
at what we
you
got right here. So we've got a pound of food for you coming out, your choice. Again,
Right.
the winners, what we need to do is just go to the FishTalk Live messaging on the menu. It will say claim prize or whatnot, or you'll see it there. So let's go ahead and refresh that. Let's go ahead and also come in here. I'm going to do a little adjustment. Tell me how many seconds you want the wheel to spin, Ron.
9.
9? Okay. All right. So we're going to apply those wheel changes real quick. And give me a color.
Green for plants.
Okay. So you
Lush
got
green, bright green.
Okay. So which number?
Around the 4 o'clock position, that green.
Yeah, right here. Okay. And then where do you want it to
And
go?
put it up there at noon.
Okay, at noon. See if I can wind this up. And this is for Mr. Pittman. Congratulations. You have won something. Let's see what you got. Let me get that drum roll going on.
Car.
Yeah, an F-150.
April Fools.
No, we actually gave one away.
Yeah, we did give away F-150. It happened to be, like 32-to-1 size. Hey, Jeff, you just won yourself an API test kit. So congratulations on that. Like I said, send a message to FishTalk Live. Look at the menu there and claim your prize. We just need you to go through that. So let me just tell you how that is. It will ask you a series of questions. It will ask you what's your address, put your street address. And it'll say, do you have an apartment and city and all of that. We are putting that information in there so that we can plug it right into the database that we have for winners and all that. So we appreciate everybody and everything on that. I'm saying, Ron, we got to do it one more time. What do you think, buddy?
Do it.
Yes. All right. So we've got 39 people still waiting on here trying to do that. I don't want to run through because of the 90-second delay. I wanted to do it for another person. I'll just try it out. Let's go to, I got to bring this Woo Picker back and then come here. Because only 30 people liked the post, it's kind of like, really? I mean, come on. I'm going to pick it from the reactions. So there we go.
Watch me win again, but not really win.
Well, you're always a winner, bro. No matter what. Ron Demers.
Winner.
All right. So it appears that I pushed it twice.
Well, let's do it twice.
Who's Leah? Ron? All right, Chris.
I don't. Is it Leah Teem? Oh, that's my mom.
Awesome. So Chris's mom's on. That is super awesome.
Nice.
Love the support, Mom. Thanks.
Yeah. Awesome.
Chris, you need to send her something for free.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. She's had her eyes on my big yellow dart frogs. That's her favorite color, and she loves them.
Now she's got like I can hear Ron's dog growling in the background. She's got koi, right? Is that correct?
She does have koi. Yeah. My parents are getting into breeding koi, so yeah, she does. She's got some gorgeous koi.
Yeah, maybe I don't know how particular she is with food, but Ron's got that amazing food. She's got that monster munch, which might be koi size. I don't know, between big boys or koi or whatever. Let's go ahead.
Some monsters for sure.
Yeah, let's go ahead and congratulate Mr. Robert Cox. We're going to spin the wheel. I'm going to pick the various aspects of this one. I'm going to refresh it. I'm going to make it spin for 17 seconds. I know, long time, but it's going to spin forever.
Kill us with the anticipation.
Well, I want someone to win a fish. I'm doing everything I can to figure out how to jack the randomness constantly. So my favorite color is blue, and I think I'm going to apply that right there. I think I'm going to go with that periwinkle that's down here on 5, and I'm going to jack that all the way up to 2. So it's going to come all the way around. This is for you, Robert. Best of luck to you. Here we go. Let me get that drum roll. Hold on, everybody. Gotta have that drum roll.
I think we got enough time for 17 seconds.
There it is. There it is. Oh, it almost did it. It was so close. But congratulations, Robert. I don't want to take away from that. You did win a great prize, a Seachem safe of 250 grams, and all that. So, and then, as we did pick Chris's mom. So yeah. We'll send you out some food samples not samples, but send you out some food for this koi. See how that goes. Almost lost my breath there. All right, everyone. So, I had like about 4 other videos is going to put in front of you all. So if it seems a little discombobulated, that's what it's about. I'm going to hold off a really cool one. There's a new segment on the show, and that is a moderator spotlight. Greg Haste is one of the moderators. He's helping out with the chat right now, and we are going to spotlight him next week, so that we can get that full video to play out and all of that. So I'm going to bring this back right here. I just want to say super thank you, Chris, for
Absolutely.
Yeah. So why don't we do it this? I'll say something, then Ron, and then you can close out the show, Chris, and we'll see everybody next week for the paludariums. So I wanted to say thank you so much, man. I've really enjoyed our friendship, getting to know you, and this process over the last, whatever it's been, a year or so of getting to know you, and it's great to see you on camera. Very knowledgeable, super awesome talk here on FishTalk Live.
And I want to say the same thing. Thank you, Chris. As you know, we haven't got to meet, but we've been talking through Dave for probably going on close to a year now. Yeah. So I feel like I already know you, and you're already part of the family. So thank you, brother. Appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge and your passion to others. And I love you guys. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Have a good one. Take it easy, Ron. Get well soon. We'll be talking. All right. You close out the show there, Chris.
All right, guys. I greatly appreciate it. It's been a blast being on the show. I look forward to doing it again. Again, Ron, thank you so much for this opportunity, you and Dave. It's been a lot of fun. Can't wait for next week too. Hope you get feeling better. But guys, don't miss this chance. If you want to learn more about these paludariums, it is an awesome, very addicting hobby. I promise you, it's full of challenges. So if you're bored, or maybe you want to try something new and don't want to fully get out of the hobby, definitely tune in next week. It's a very quickly growing thing, so you don't want to miss this out. So I look forward to seeing y'all again next week.
Awesome. I'm turning you guys.
Access to safe drinking water is a basic human right. And yet, in Tanzania, half of the population is denied of this every single day. Girls like Shukuru walk for miles to collect water for their household. The time taken to walk for water means that she cannot attend school, which prevents any future employment prospects and no hope of breaking the cycle of poverty. Water accounts for 70% of the Earth's surface, and yet only 2.5% of that water is suitable for drinking. In countries such as Tanzania, lack of decent toilets results in water being contaminated and dangerous to drink. If Shukuru is successful in finding water, she has no idea if the water is clean or not. It could potentially be contaminated with waterborne diseases. In Tanzania, almost 4,000 children under the age of 5 die every year from waterborne diseases and diarrhea. African Aqua Solutions, in collaboration with Icon Lifesaver, supports the government of Tanzania's ambition
All right,
to
everybody,
provide
I'm gonna
24
post this
million
up on
people with
FishTalk
clean
Live
water by
page.
2020.
Basically,
By
what they're
introducing
talking about
innovative,
is
life-saving
some really cool
technology
things
across the
with
country one
Tanzania.
school at a time.
Tanzania being one of the countries that borders Lake Malawi, so I thought it was a good human interest for all of us to check out. We'll see you guys next week on Fish Talk Live at 8 o'clock. And take care, everybody.
African
Bye-bye.
Aqua Solutions team, with the support of Icon Lifesaver, are installing filter systems.